John Sturges brought together a remarkable cast for the Magnificent Seven, featuring Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, Robert Vaughn, Brad Dexter, James Coburn, and Horace B. Clucas, who portrayed the seven gunfighters facing off against Eli Wallach's villain. In a startling moment during the final days of his life, Steve McQueen reached out to one of his co-stars to offer an apology for past actions that had caused tension between them. This unexpected call revealed a side of McQueen rarely seen by the public, highlighting his desire for reconciliation and peace before passing. The apology underscored unresolved conflicts that had lingered behind the scenes during filming, shedding light on the complex relationships that existed beyond the screen. It also adds a poignant layer to the legacy of the film and its cast, showing that even amidst fame and success, human connections and regrets remain deeply personal and impactful. When their small village faces another attack from the ruthless bandit Calvera, three brave Mexican farmers decide to take action. They journey north in search of guns to defend their homes. Upon meeting Chris Adams, a skilled gunslinger, they ask for his help. However, Chris believes that hiring a group of experienced gunmen is a better plan. He sets out to gather a team, recruiting 5 others with various talents and skills. Initially, he rejects a 6th man, but later changes his mind and brings him into the group. Together, they create a strategy to protect the village from Calvera's forces. As they prepare for the coming battle, strong friendships form among the men, and a tender romance grows between one of the gunmen and a beautiful local woman. Despite their determination and bravery, the fight proves deadly, and not all of them will survive the attack. The director Sturges was very eager to cast Steve McQueen in the Magnificent Seven, especially after working with him on the 1959 film Never So Few. However, McQueen was tied up with his popular TV series Wanted Dead or Alive, and could not get released to join the movie. To solve this problem, McQueen, who was also an experienced race car driver, followed his agent's clever advice. He staged a car accident and claimed he had suffered a whip injury, which forced him to wear a neck brace. This injury required him to take time off from his TV series, allowing him to be free during his recovery period. During this interval, he was able to appear in the Magnificent Seven, fulfilling the director's wish to have him in the cast. James Coburn's involvement in the 1960 movie, The Magnificent Seven, is a fascinating story that highlights his passion for the original Japanese film Seven Samurai. Coburn was a devoted fan who had watched Seven Samurai at least 15 times, showing his deep appreciation for the story and its themes. His connection to the project came through his co-star Robert Vaughn, who was also a former classmate. Vaughn helped Coburn get hired for the role of the expert knife thrower, a part that had been turned down by Sterling Hayden and John Ireland. This role allowed Coburn to showcase his unique skills and brought a fresh energy to the film. His enthusiasm for the source material and his close ties with the cast helped shape his memorable performance, making his character stand out in this classic Western adaptation. Location shooting for the film began in March of 1960 in Mexico, where the production team constructed both the village and the U.S. border town specifically for the movie. This choice of location came with challenges, as Mexico held reservations about Hollywood productions at the time, largely because of the controversy surrounding the 1954 film Veracruz. To address these concerns, Mexican authorities agreed to allow filming only if their censors were present on set. These censors had the authority to oversee and decide what could be shown in the film, particularly focusing on the portrayal of Mexican villagers. They insisted on changes to ensure that the depiction of the villagers was more acceptable and respectful according to their standards. This arrangement meant that the filmmakers had to work closely with the censors, balancing their creative vision with the cultural sensitivities of the host country. The presence of Mexican censors influenced how certain scenes were filmed and edited, shaping the final portrayal of the community within the film. This careful negotiation reflected the broader tensions between Hollywood and foreign governments during location shoots, especially in regions sensitive to their representation in American cinema. Walter Newman originally wrote the screenplay for The Magnificent Seven, but when the production required script changes to be made on location, he declined to travel and revised the script himself. As a result, William Roberts was brought in to make the necessary revisions. These changes were substantial enough that Roberts earned a co-writing credit. However, Newman refused to share credit with Roberts, leading to his name being completely removed from the film's credits. This dispute over authorship highlights the tensions behind the scenes during the film's production and reflects the challenges that can arise when multiple writers contribute to a screenplay without mutual agreement on recognition. The situation left Roberts as the credited writer for the revised script, while Newman's original contribution went unacknowledged publicly in the final release of the movie. Mexican censors insisted that the peasants in the Magnificent Seven always appear in clean clothes, despite their roles as farmers who would naturally wear dirty garments. This unusual demand led to a significant delay in filming because many costumes had been purposely made to look worn and dirty to reflect the characters' humble, hard-working lives. To comply with the censors, the production team had to spend a great deal of time and effort thoroughly cleaning dozens of these intentionally soiled costumes before shooting could begin. This requirement disrupted the filming schedule and added unexpected challenges as the costumes lost their authentic, rugged look that was essential for portraying the peasants' daily struggles. The insistence on cleanliness clashed with the film's attempt to show a gritty, realistic depiction of rural life, creating tension between artistic vision and censorship rules. Newman, the screenwriter of The Magnificent Seven, became deeply upset with the way John Sturges directed several scenes he had written. He was particularly angry when Sturges gave some of the carefully crafted and character-driven lines intended for Yul Brynner to other actors like Steve McQueen and Charles Bronson. This shift in dialogue not only changed the feel of the characters, but also undermined Newman's original vision for the story. As a result, Newman felt alienated from the project and decided he no longer wanted to be associated with it. This conflict was so strong that it led to Newman being taken off the writing credits altogether. His frustration came from a place of wanting his work to be respected and presented as he intended, but the director's choices moved the film in a different direction. Newman's decision to remove himself from the credits shows how creative disagreements can deeply affect the relationships behind a film's production and the final product seen by audiences. Despite the challenges faced by the director and writer, they reunited for the 1963 film The Great Escape, showing their strong professional bond. Contrary to popular belief, the 7 lead actors in The Magnificent Seven were not all unknowns who became stars solely because of the movie. Yul Brynner was already a well-established star. Steve McQueen was gaining fame through his role in the popular TV series Wanted Dead or Alive. Charles Bronson had been acting since 1951 and had his own TV show, Man with a Camera. James Coburn and Robert Vaughn had earned recognition through various movie and TV westerns. Brad Dexter had significant roles in notable films such as The Asphalt Jungle and Run Silent, Run Deep. The only actor who was relatively unfamiliar to American audiences was Horst Buchholz. This mix of established and lesser-known actors contributed to the film's dynamic and memorable cast. Horst Buchholz was chosen for the 1960 film because he was creating a lot of excitement in Hollywood at the time. Many believed he might become the next Marlon Brando, a huge star of that era. Although he was originally from Germany, Buchholz was cast to play a Mexican gunfighter in the movie. This presented some challenges for him. To look more the part, he worked hard to get a deep tan so he would appear more Hispanic on screen. Despite his efforts, his German accent was still noticeable, which made it harder for him to fully convince audiences that he was playing a Mexican character. These details show how casting decisions sometimes require actors to stretch beyond their natural backgrounds, and how physical appearance and voice both play important roles in making a character believable. Buchholz's involvement added a unique layer to the film, reflecting Hollywood's interest in fresh faces and international talent during that period. During the filming of The Magnificent Seven in 1960, Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner had a tense rivalry that played out behind the scenes. Steve McQueen constantly tried to steal the spotlight from Yul Brynner by doing things that would draw the audience's eyes toward him instead. Meanwhile, Yul Brynner, who stood about 5 feet 10 inches tall, was worried about always appearing a bit taller than McQueen in the scenes where they appeared together. Since McQueen was roughly the same height, Brynner came up with a clever trick. He would create a small mound of dirt to stand on during their shared shots, giving the illusion of extra height. However, McQueen was aware of this tactic and would casually kick the mound to lower it whenever he passed by, subtly undermining Brynner's effort. This back and forth showed the competitive nature between the two actors throughout the production, adding an unspoken tension to the film's creation. Yul Brynner was reportedly very concerned about Steve McQueen potentially overshadowing him in certain scenes of The Magnificent Seven. His worry was so intense that he hired an assistant to keep track of how many times McQueen touched his hat while Brynner was speaking. This unusual measure highlights the tension between the two actors during filming, as they simply did not get along well. Despite this friction, Brenner held significant influence on the set, especially during the location shoots, and he had the power to have McQueen removed from the film if he had chosen to. However, Brenner refrained from taking such drastic action, showing a level of professionalism or restraint despite their troubled relationship. This behind-the-scenes conflict adds an intriguing layer to the making of the film, revealing the challenges faced even among its leading stars. In 1980, Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen reached a heartfelt reconciliation. At that time, McQueen was gravely ill with cancer and decided to call Brynner. During their conversation, McQueen expressed his gratitude, saying that Brynner could have easily had him removed from the film because McQueen had been trying to unsettle him during the production. Instead, Brynner allowed him to stay, and McQueen credited that film for making his career. This acknowledgement was deeply meaningful, and Brynner fully accepted McQueen's apology. Their reconciliation came shortly before McQueen passed away, marking a poignant moment of forgiveness and appreciation between two actors who had shared a challenging but important experience. The 1960 film The Magnificent Seven invites a complex evaluation, particularly when considered alongside its celebrated inspiration, Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. While the two share a foundational narrative, a group of heroes defending a vulnerable village, the American Western adaptation struggles to capture the depth and nuance of its predecessor, resulting in a film that divides opinion on several fronts. One of the most significant challenges The Magnificent Seven faces is living up to the symbolic richness and moral complexity that Kurosawa masterfully embedded in Seven Samurai. This film attempts to translate a distinctly Japanese story into an American Western context, incorporating a diverse cast, but often at the expense of character development and thematic depth. The original's profound exploration of honor, sacrifice, and community is largely absent here, replaced by a more straightforward, action-driven plot that some viewers find lacking in substance. Critics often point to the film's pacing and narrative structure as areas of weakness. The opening sequence is described as underwhelming, with the recruitment of the heroes feeling perfunctory rather than compelling. This results in a story that unfolds with a sense of haste, leaving little room for the audience to connect with the characters or become invested in their journey. The runtime of 128 minutes, while substantial, seems insufficient to develop the layers of tension and emotion that a story of this nature demands. Acting performances received mixed reviews, with some actors falling short in bringing their characters to life. Yul Brynner, cast as the lead Chris Adams, is noted for delivering lines without much emotional engagement, contributing to a portrayal that some find flat and uninspiring. Conversely, Steve McQueen's performance stands out as a highlight, bringing a degree of energy and interest that helps elevate the film. However, even his presence cannot fully compensate for the overall lack of character depth and development, which leaves much of the ensemble feeling like mere archetypes, rather than fully realized individuals. The film's antagonist, Calvera, played by Eli Wallach, also garners divided opinions. While his character embodies corruption and greed, he lacks the menacing presence that would make him a truly formidable foe. The portrayal is seen as somewhat superficial, with Calvera's villainy not extending beyond typical outlaw behaviors. This diminishes the stakes of the conflict and reduces the tension that could have made the story more gripping. Despite these criticisms, The Magnificent Seven is not without its merits. The score is frequently praised for its energy and ability to enhance the film's atmosphere, contributing a memorable auditory experience that has endured over time. Additionally, the film contains moments that pay homage to the Western genre, delivering the expected gunfights and showdowns that fans might appreciate. These elements provide a degree of entertainment, even if they do not fully compensate for the film's shortcomings in narrative and character engagement. Ultimately, The Magnificent Seven is often viewed as a film that falls short of its ambitious goal to reinterpret a classic tale within a new cultural framework. It is seen by some as a rushed Hollywood production that prioritizes star power over storytelling depth, resulting in a movie that feels hollow compared to the original masterpiece. However, for those interested in the genre or the performances of certain actors, it may still hold some appeal. The film serves as a reminder of the challenges inherent in adapting culturally significant works, and the difficulty of capturing the essence that made the original so impactful. As the dust settles on the story of The Magnificent Seven, the adventure doesn't end here. Beyond the iconic shootouts and rugged landscapes lies a deeper tale waiting to be uncovered. one that follows the lives of the men who brought these unforgettable characters to life. What became of these stars after the cameras stopped rolling? Some found new paths that surprised their fans, others faced challenges that tested their spirit, and a few left legacies that continue to echo through Hollywood history. This bonus segment takes you behind the scenes and beyond the screen, revealing stories of triumph, mystery, and transformation that add a whole new dimension to the legend. Stay with us as we explore the real-life journeys of the Magnificent Seven's cast, shining a light on the moments that shaped them long after the final credits. Victor French's role as the front office clerk in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven was brief yet pivotal, offering a glimpse into his early acting range before he became widely recognized. This role, though minor, showcased his ability to bring a grounded presence to the screen, laying groundwork for a career that would later flourish in television. After The Magnificent Seven, French's life took a complex path marked by both professional success and personal turmoil. He gained fame through roles in popular TV series such as Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven, often portraying strong, dependable characters. Yet behind the scenes, French struggled with health issues and the pressures of Hollywood's demanding environment. His personal life was shadowed by challenges including battles with alcoholism and the strain of maintaining his career amid changing industry tides. Despite these hardships, French remained dedicated to his craft until his untimely death in 1989 from lung cancer. The last known details of his life paint a somber picture of a talented actor whose legacy is tinged with both brilliance and tragedy. Val Avery's portrayal of Henry in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven marked a subtle yet memorable presence amid a star-studded cast. His character, though not central, carried a quiet weight, embodying the rugged, weathered toughness Avery was known for. Avery's career was defined by such roles. He rarely played the hero, but excelled as the gritty, often morally ambiguous character. After the film, his path was marked by steady work in television and film, frequently cast as cops, crooks, or blue-collar men, reflecting a typecast that both sustained and limited him. Off-screen, Avery's life was shadowed by struggles typical of character actors of his era, challenges with typecasting, and the pressures of Hollywood's relentless pace. He faced personal hardships, including bouts of depression and financial instability, common yet rarely discussed in his circle. Despite these difficulties, Avery maintained a reputation for professionalism and resilience. His final years were quiet, with fewer roles and a retreat from the spotlight. The last known details suggest he lived modestly, away from the public eye, leaving behind a legacy as a dependable, if underappreciated, figure of classic American cinema. Jim Davis portrayed the role of a gunman at Boot Hill in the 1960 movie The Magnificent Seven, a part that underscored his rugged screen presence and ability to embody the gritty, stoic characters of the Western genre. Though not the lead, his performance added a layer of authenticity to the film's tense atmosphere. After this role, Davis continued to build a solid career in television and film, most notably gaining fame as Jock Ewing on the hit TV series Dallas. His life, however, was marked by personal struggles and controversies. Davis faced health challenges, including a battle with lung cancer, which ultimately led to his death in 1981. His off-screen life was shadowed by reports of strained family relationships and the pressures of maintaining a public image while dealing with private pain. Despite these hardships, Davis left a lasting legacy in the entertainment world, remembered for his commanding presence and complex characters. The last known information about him remains tied to his impactful roles and the enduring popularity of Dallas, with no further public updates or revelations about his private life since his passing. Brad Dexter's portrayal of Harry Luck in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven stands out for its subtle blend of greed and charm. Harry Luck, unlike the other gunmen, is driven by the promise of gold, yet Dexter infuses the character with a sly likability that hints at deeper layers beneath the surface. This role, though not the lead, cemented Dexter's place in Hollywood's character actor roster. After the film, Dexter's career saw a mix of steady work and behind-the-scenes challenges. He struggled with the typecasting that often trapped actors of his era, limiting his opportunities to break into leading roles. Beyond the screen, Dexter's life was marked by personal turmoil. He faced financial difficulties and battled with alcoholism, which affected both his career trajectory and personal relationships. His marriage ended in divorce, adding to a sense of isolation. Despite these hardships, Dexter remained connected to the industry, eventually turning to production work in later years. The last known public information about Brad Dexter indicates he lived a relatively quiet life away from the spotlight until his death in 2002. His legacy rests on a mix of memorable performances overshadowed by the struggles that haunted him off-camera. Eli Wallach's portrayal of Calvera in The Magnificent Seven is a study in menace wrapped in charm. As the ruthless bandit leader, Wallach brought a layered villainy to the role, blending cunning with unpredictability. His Calvera was more than just a foil. He was a force of chaos, embodying the dark undercurrents of power and fear. This role cemented Wallach's ability to inhabit morally complex characters with a magnetic presence. After the film, Wallach's career continued with a mix of stage and screen, but his life was marked by shadows as well. He faced personal hardships, including the early loss of his first wife, which deeply affected him. Despite his success, Wallach often struggled with the typecasting of ethnic roles, pushing against Hollywood's narrow confines. His career was a testament to resilience, navigating an industry rife with stereotypes. Wallach's later years saw him honored for his contributions to acting, yet he remained a private figure, rarely revealing much about his inner life. His death in 2014 closed the chapter on a life that balanced brilliance with quiet suffering. The last known details highlight a man who, despite fame, stayed enigmatic, a figure as complex as the roles he played. James Coburn's portrayal of Britt in The Magnificent Seven carved a distinct niche for him as a cool, deadly marksman whose laconic demeanor masked a fierce skill set. Britt was the embodiment of quiet danger, a man whose sharp shooting was matched only by his sharp wit. This role cemented Coburn's image as a rugged anti-hero, a persona that would define much of his career. After the film, Coburn's life and career took on a darker, more complex tone. He struggled with substance abuse, battling addiction that threatened to derail his promising trajectory. Despite this, he managed to reinvent himself, embracing diverse roles that showcased his range beyond the Western genre. His later years were marked by a quieter, more reflective presence, though whispers of personal pain lingered beneath the surface. Coburn's health declined due to a rare muscle disease, and he passed away in 2002, leaving behind a legacy shadowed by both brilliance and hardship. His story remains one of talent intertwined with turmoil, a figure who lived as intensely off-screen as on. Charles Bronson's role as Bernardo O'Reilly in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven marked a pivotal moment in his acting career. O'Reilly is a Mexican outlaw with a complex backstory, bringing depth and intensity to the ensemble's diverse cast. Bronson's portrayal blended toughness and vulnerability, capturing the character's loyalty and moral ambiguity, which resonated with audiences. After the success of The Magnificent Seven, Bronson's career skyrocketed, leading to iconic roles in films like The Great Escape and Death Wish. His rugged demeanor and brooding presence made him a symbol of tough guy cinema. However, his life was not without hardship. He faced personal tragedies, including the death of his first wife, which deeply affected him. Bronson also endured the stigma of typecasting, often struggling to be seen beyond his tough roles. Throughout his life, he faced public scrutiny, including controversies over his violent film roles, and a sometimes troubled personal life. Bronson had clashes within Hollywood, and dealt with the challenges of fame, including a difficult relationship with the press. Later years saw him retreat from the spotlight, living quietly with his family until he passed away in 2003. His legacy remains in the annals of cinema, a testament to the complexity of both his roles and real life. Robert Vaughn's role as Lee in the 1960 movie The Magnificent Seven was marked by a quiet intensity and a sharp intellect that set him apart from the other gunmen. Lee was the thinker among the group, a man shaped by experience and a deep sense of honor, yet haunted by the violence he had mastered. Vaughn brought a subtle complexity to the character, balancing cool detachment with moments of vulnerability. After the film, Vaughn's career expanded into television and film, most notably starring in The Man from UNCLE, which cemented his status as a cultural icon, but also tethered him to a certain typecast of suave, cerebral characters. His personal life was shadowed by struggles, including a difficult divorce and battles with health issues later in life. Vaughn faced the challenges of fading fame and the unpredictability of Hollywood, yet he remained a respected figure among peers. His later years were quieter, devoted to teaching acting and occasional roles, with little public scandal, but a persistent aura of the enigmatic man behind the screen. The last known information indicates he passed away in 2016, leaving behind a legacy of complexity and cool charisma that continues to intrigue fans. Yul Brynner's portrayal of Chris Larrabee Adams in The Magnificent Seven was marked by a quiet intensity and a commanding presence that defined the character's stoic leadership. Brynner's sharp gaze and measured speech conveyed a man shaped by hardship and loss, adding layers of depth beneath the tough exterior. This role cemented his image as a rugged, enigmatic figure in Hollywood, but his life beyond the screen was far from serene. After The Magnificent Seven, Brynner's career continued with a mix of stage and screen work, yet his personal life was shadowed by struggles. He battled alcoholism, which affected both his health and relationships. Despite his success, Brynner was known for a restless spirit, frequently traveling and seeking new experiences, sometimes at the expense of stability. His multiple marriages and affairs often made headlines, painting a portrait of a man both charismatic and troubled. Brynner's heritage was complex. Born in Russia, he embraced a nomadic identity that fueled both his art and his inner conflicts. He was deeply private about his past, adding to the aura of mystery. In his later years, he became an advocate for health awareness after being diagnosed with lung cancer, a battle he faced with stoic courage until his death in 1985. His final public moments were marked by a refusal to let illness define him, leaving behind a legacy as compelling off-screen as on. Vladimir Sokolov's portrayal of the old man in The Magnificent Seven is a quiet force amid the film's chaos. His character, a humble villager, embodies resilience and the weight of years spent under oppression. Sokolov's weathered face and subtle expressions convey a lifetime of hardship without words, grounding the story in human endurance. After the film, Sokolov's career remained steady but never soared to stardom. Born in Russia, he fled the turmoil of revolution and war, a journey that shadowed his life with loss and exile. He often played roles that echoed his own experiences of displacement and survival. Personal struggles marked his later years, including battles with health and the loneliness that came from living far from his birthplace. He rarely spoke publicly about these hardships, maintaining a guarded silence that added to his mystique. The last known details of his life are sparse, with few interviews or appearances, leaving his final years wrapped in quiet obscurity. His legacy lingers not just in films, but in the unspoken stories his life hinted at. Steve McQueen's portrayal of Vin Tanner in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven marked a defining moment in his career, showcasing his brooding intensity and understated charisma. Vin Tanner was a quiet, skilled gunslinger with a mysterious past, embodying the cool, rugged anti-hero that McQueen would become known for. After this role, McQueen's career soared with films like The Great Escape and Bullet, cementing his status as the king of cool. Yet beneath the surface of his fame, his life was riddled with turmoil. McQueen struggled with chronic pain from a near-fatal motorcycle accident, leading to addiction issues with painkillers. His personal life was equally turbulent, marked by 2 divorces and well-publicized clashes with Hollywood studios. His rebellious nature often put him at odds with the industry, adding to his enigmatic aura. Diagnosed with mesothelioma, McQueen sought unconventional treatments abroad, ultimately succumbing to the disease in 1980. His legacy remains shadowed by his battles with pain and addiction, making him a figure of both admiration and tragic complexity. Horst Buchholz's portrayal of Chico in The Magnificent Seven was a striking blend of youthful energy and quiet intensity. Chico, a young, eager gunslinger, was brought to life with a rawness that contrasted with the seasoned veterans around him. Buchholz's performance captured the character's vulnerability beneath a tough exterior, hinting at a deeper, more troubled soul. After the film, Buchholz's career veered away from Hollywood spotlight and into European cinema, where he took on roles that often mirrored his own complex persona. His life off-screen was marked by turbulence. He faced struggles with substance abuse and battled with the pressures of fame that haunted him long after his early success. A scandal in the late 1960s involving a controversial relationship and legal troubles briefly overshadowed his work, adding a layer of darkness to his public image. Despite these hardships, Buchholz continued acting, though never regaining the international stardom he once held. In his later years, he lived quietly, with few public appearances, battling health issues that remained largely private. The last known reports place him living in relative seclusion, a shadow of the vibrant actor who once captivated audiences. The Magnificent Seven remains a timeless classic, not just for its thrilling story, but for the remarkable lives of the actors who brought it to life. Yul Brynner, known for his commanding presence, faced challenges balancing his intense film career with personal struggles. Steve McQueen, the king of cool, battled health issues later in life, but left behind a legacy of unforgettable performances. Charles Bronson, who rose from humble beginnings, became a symbol of tough resilience. Each actor's journey after the film shows how they shaped Hollywood in their own way. Did you grow up watching this movie? What memories or feelings does it bring back for you? Maybe it was a family favorite or sparked a love for westerns. Share your stories and thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear how the Magnificent Seven touched your